Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled TN, Tennessee, Is it arson if I burn down a building that I own? I just inherited my father's farm. It has a barn where my father used to spend time away from us drinking and yelling. Also, it is where he would bring me and my siblings to give us beatings and lock us up for the night when he was mad at us. My brother and I want to burn down the barn with some of my father's possessions inside to relieve ourselves of the memories. Can we pour gasoline and set the barn on fire, or would it be arson? Thank you. And a user in the comments said, contact your local fire department and see if you can burn it down as a training exercise for them. That way you will have help on hand to prevent the fire spreading, and they can help you with any necessary permitting process. Depending on the materials used in construction of the barn and its usage history, when not used to punish kids, there could be hazardous materials present that you should not burn or that could create toxic fumes. And another user said, understand the intent of just setting it yourself, but checking with the fire department is the sort of correct, we have laws approach. The reason they are typically notified is that when people want to burn giant things, they generally use too much accelerant and the fire either gets out of control or they hurt themselves. The fire department does this all the time and should be more than happy to hose down stuff around the building before you light it to make sure it does not spread and basically help you make a wicked fire that torches the barn without hurting yourself. You don't have to disclose why you want to take the barn down if you don't want to, if you are comfortable talking about it. It may help them to understand you're not an arsonist to watch out for though. Totally get it, be safe. I gotta say guys, that is probably one of the most bizarre legal advice stories, but then again I can definitely understand the OP. Have you ever burned down any buildings or something like that because you had bad memories surrounding them? Let us know in the comments. By the way, in case you didn't get it, obviously that was a joke. I don't want to know if you have burned down any buildings. Anyway, update to the arson story. Hi everyone, came here to give an update as many people asked. The burning of the barn finally happened. We went to the fire department and asked about a controlled burn. They said it might be okay under certain conditions, but they had to do an inspection first. They made us remove all that could have produced toxic fumes and pollution, like old tires and the ruins of a tractor. The wood was dry and there was almost no paint left, so they said it was fine to burn. They were actually glad for the opportunity because they had a new guy to train. They said they would do protection of the other buildings and nearby bush, and it would be a productive training session for them. When the day finally came, they let us start the fire, more of a symbol than anything. They did the real starting for safety reasons. The fire had to be helped a bit because it had rained a lot the days before, but then the whole barn was engulfed at once. It was beautiful in a way. I must say it burned spectacularly well. There was almost nothing left in the end, which is exactly what we wanted. For those of you who were worried about us burning valuable stuff, we did keep some tools and a pile of boards that we will sell, but there was not much more than that, except if you can find value in magazines from the 80s, empty bottles and girls' calendars. These were my father's possessions, so we had a lot of pleasure in letting them burn. We added his clothes for good measure. We likely could have sold more of the barnwood, but there was more purpose for us in burning it all down. Probably won't solve the deeper issues of what our father did, but it did bring some relief and some sense of closure. Unfortunately, we could not throw the big barbecue party we wanted for the fire department. We did have some beer though, because of pandemic restrictions, but we all decided to do it later, hopefully next summer. The firemen were real bros, really cool but professional, and they seemed to have as much fun as we did. We are really thankful for their help. You guys rock. And guys, actually what is really Common and popular for younger boys, mainly boys, probably also some girls, back in Europe is the volunteer firefighters or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how it is called in English, and I'm curious, does something like this exist in the US as well? Obviously, these guys and girls have a very high standing in the community because essentially whenever there is a fire, whether it is at 2 AM in the morning or 22 o'clock in the evening, these guys will get out of bed, essentially for free I think, and help the city. And the next one is from LegalAdvice UK and it is titled Uber overcharging my fare by £400. And by the way, £400 is around $550. Hi all, hope you had a lovely Christmas. My mother-in-law informed me today that Uber have charged her £428 for a trip that should have cost around £20. She left my house on Christmas Day and out in the destination of her son's house and thought it would be fine to drop her off on the way. Her house is about 1.3 miles away and if she took a trip to his house from her house today using Uber, it would cost around £3. The trip from my house today to her son's house would be around £16 odds. So Uber are suggesting that because she added in an additional stop, they charged that at the appropriate rate. But they seem to believe the appropriate rate is at a markup of around 13,520.1% for the trip between her house and her son's. Uber, as you might have thought, are being thoroughly unhelpful and I'm just reaching out to see if this is something legally we can take further, or if anyone has any other advice that would be super appreciated. Update: Uber have said they won't be refunding this and have marked the matter closed. The map shows the journey from start to finish and it is just the same as any other journey. They cannot possibly get away with this charge. Final update, she requested the stop before she got in the car. She knows this because she got in the taxi and he asked, "Where are you going?" And she replied, "Do you not have the details?" And he then says, "Oh yes, it's X and Y." So he knew both the addresses before she even got in the car to start the trip. We will contact the bank tomorrow, but to be honest, I think I will have to contact Uber myself to get a grip on this. Thanks for all the replies so far. I will update when I get somewhere. And a user in the comments said, as others have said, I would look at the actual receipt, but if they are being totally unhelpful and the receipt really does say they intend to charge you that much, then I would get in touch with the bank attached to the card on file and ask for a chargeback. You will probably get banned from Uber, but at least taxis are probably less likely to be that ridiculous. And guys, I'm curious, are any of you still using Uber? To be honest, here in Thailand, Uber was a big thing a few years back, but nowadays I think Uber is not allowed to operate anymore or something, and Grab totally took over, both for food deliveries, grocery deliveries, and also just taxi services. And to be honest, I have nothing against that because Grab, especially here in Thailand, is really convenient and it is much better than the taxis who sometimes try to scam you. Although that has never really happened to me personally. Update to the Uber overcharging my mother-in-law story. The bank has refunded the money and started an investigation, so just been told to wait it out. Obviously, the refund is just a temporary one until the investigation has concluded, but Uber will now have to provide an explanation for why the charge was that high, so let's hope for the right outcome. Still have not heard anything from the CEO or regional manager, but not holding my breath for that. Thanks again for the advice, everyone. And guys, if you have watched until here and enjoy the legal advice stories, please don't forget to like the video and post some star emojis in the comments to help out the channel. Thank you so much in advance, your help is very much appreciated. Final update to Uber overcharging. She won. Hey everyone, a very happy new year to you all. Further to all my other updates yesterday, my mother-in-law received a call from the licensing board of our local council and he promised her he was on it and would get it resolved ASAP. Well, this fantastic man did what he said he would and Uber have now refunded the cost minus the fare, which they now have decided was £15. But the guy has not let it go either. He has told them he wants to know how it happened and that they have to send him all the paperwork relating to the journey. Uber said, seriously, that the issue was that there's an address in Aberdeen that is the same as her starting destination. Even though the taxi collected her from the address in Glasgow, but the computer has charged her from that address. This is complete BS given the receipt shows a map of the journey and the distance and time. Honestly, I would use Uber all the time if they could get me from Aberdeen to Glasgow in 26 minutes. So they sent her a petty email saying, "We are sorry, you imputed the wrong information, but we will refund you this time." I think they will receive some form of reprimand for this because the license board are really concerned about it. Shame Uber have been so unhelpful. As a family we will of course be voting with our feet and never using the service again, but still, the fact that they wouldn't just hold their hands up and say we got it wrong, sorry, is frustrating. But the main thing is she's getting her money back, so thank you to all of you for your advice, it was really helpful. The next one is the title story and it is titled, "Today I came home to a new fence in my backyard and nobody knows where it came from." Delaware, USA, no HOA. Much to my disappointment, guys. Anyway, we live in a row home and the house attached to ours is vacant. It has been on the market since before we moved in and nobody's lived in it for at least 7 years. And here is the mystery fence in question. Obviously, looks a bit out of place if you ask me. There was a small cast iron fence between the two yards on my property line that went from under the fire escape to the brick garage, which you can see in the image. I removed that fence as it was on my property about a month ago and installed brand new beautiful sod. Well, I come home today and this disgusting mismatched random combination of fences has been erected between the yards. Part of it goes over my property line, crushing the sod at the bottom of the fire escape. The leprechauns or whoever installed it stepped all over my grass to do so, and to top it all off, they gave us the ugly side, which is totally against fence etiquette. I don't know who owns it, so I called the real estate agent. He was just as shocked as I was when I told him there had been a fence built at a house he is selling. He had no idea. He will be in contact with the owner of the property tomorrow, but she is a 70-year-old woman who doesn't live here and he said he cannot imagine why she would have a fence built. I asked my neighbor on the other side if she saw anything. She didn't. What do I do about this fence? And a user in the comments said, "Former zoning official here, get the city involved ASAP. Take pictures of every of the fence including front of home behind you. You can call the police, but this is not their speciality. Call your zoning or planning department immediately and ask your zoning enforcement officers to check on this. Get your property surveyed in the meantime to verify your boundary lines. I agree with those who say to put a camera on the back of your home. This is very fishy, and if I were you, I would not hesitate to act upon this. It might be a renter who the real estate agent is unaware of, but it could be squatters, and that is a real nightmare for the owner and their neighbors. Edit: if you know the home is empty and no one should be there, let your zoning enforcement know so they can force the owner to properly secure the building." And the next one is the update to the fence story. I found the fence on Thursday. Saturday I was having about a dozen people over for a family birthday party, so the eyesore of a fence had to go one way or another. So on Friday morning I had a follow-up call with the realtor who knew nothing about the fence, and he told me that the homeowner did not either. I called my neighborhood civil council president to let him know about it, and he told me about encroachment issues, as the fence was on my property, but also let me know that in my city a permit is not required to build this type of fence. I took many commenters' advice and installed security cameras around my house, 2 of which have either full or partial view of the neighboring backyard. I also took to heart the idea that there may be squatters living or preparing to live in the house next door. If I find anything on my security cameras indicating there may be squatters, I will be informing the police. So on Friday afternoon I removed the fencing in its multiple different pieces and gently leaned them against the brick garage, with the exception of one door-sized section which I put against the basement door in case there are indeed squatters entering through there. Saturday, Sunday and Monday came and went without any indication that the yard was entered again, and the fencing over the basement door has not moved. We still don't know who built the fence or why, but it does not seem like anyone cares, and at least now I don't have an abomination of a fence to stare at anymore. I will likely build my own fence though, one that looks good and is structurally sound and that spans my property line. Well guys, and that is, I guess, one way to solve the situation. Not a very legal advice-ish type of way, but still a good solution for the OP, I guess. And the last one is titled, Building Salt, can you help me prepare for my meeting with the new landlords and help me fight for my rights? Hey all, so my building just sold. There are 6 units here. 3 at the bottom and 3 at the top. We are all month to month except 2 recent tenants who have a 1-year lease. The new owners take over on November 1st. The old owner is a slumlord and hates me and most of the tenants as we asked for things to be fixed and he didn't want to spend any money. We will not have any heat until Monday to make my point. It has not yet been turned on. The old landlord is a habitual liar and he told me, well, you're all getting evicted anyways. Well, I mean, I don't know what the new owner is doing. It's none of my business. Now, these new owners had to go through 2 banks to get the money to buy this building. It is also their first building. I suspect that they will be greedy and want to pay off their building and make money ASAP. The new owner is supposed to come talk to us this month and I have a few questions that I hope you kind people can help me with so that I can be ready when he comes. I have done some research, so there are things that I want to verify and I would appreciate it if you could tell me what I should know about anything important that I missed. Important, we are in an unincorporated community and don't have any bylaws. Number 1, if they plan to kick me out to raise the rent, I know that any rent increase that is not protested becomes legal after a year. Can I work with them to do the increase that way and avoid being evicted? If they don't want to work it out that way, can they evict me solely on the principle that they want to raise the rental price? Number 2, if so, what do they owe me? 2 months to move, my last plus interest on the last, and I can move legally by giving them only 12 days notice should I choose to leave before. If they plan to use renovations as the cause, they owe me 3 months of rent, right? Does this include my last or is that on top of it all? Also, they owe me the interest on my last, right? If they plan to use the family moving in, lie, it is 2 months and my last plus interest, right? And a user in the comments said, they cannot kick you out without cause. The new landlord is bound by your existing rental agreement. You don't need to sign a new lease and should not until you get something in return for it. They cannot increase your rent except for the once a year at the rate allowed by the LTB. If your rent has already been increased this year, it cannot be again. If there are broken amenities, they have to fix them or you can file a complaint with the LTB. Update to the landlord might kick me out story. My building sold and my old owners were terrible landlords who did not fix squat. They hated us too and made it seem like the new owners were kicking us out. I asked for advice and people responded, so I just wanted to say thank you and update everyone. The new owners were pissed at the lies told to us. Nobody is kicked out and rent did not go up. They are fixing all of the issues in the building and using actual plumbers and electricians. Meaning licensed experts. They replaced our commune washing machines, 4 of them, within a week. They are fixing heating issues. They will tackle all of the other issues once the big ones are taken care of. AKA hydro water heat issues. They are also very likable people. This is their first building and the owners told me that they don't want to be known as slumlords, that they have rights and responsibilities. What our previous owners did not get, they only saw their rights. And I guess that is a sort of happy ending and things don't always turn out as bad as they might seem to be. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.